Yes, people, Albert JTV is back yet again for another Euro 2020 preview. It's the big one. Another semi-final. Two back-to-back. Another European Championship semi-final. A long way. But before we get into it, people, let's hit the intro. Yes, people, welcome back again. Live preview time. It's the big one in a couple of days' time, man. As me and Souls keep saying, we're never sure how long we're going to be doing England content for, but we're the mighty Lions are still in the tournament, so we're happy. Big up to the people in the chat already. As I always say, this will go out on my Spotify and Anchor to the audio listeners, and my Twitter and Instagram is going below the bottom of the screen and the top of the screen to double make sure. But Souls, welcome aboard again, bruv. The big one's coming soon, mate.
I know. It's not long. It's literally Wednesday. The fate is all on one day to see whether we can finally get to a major tournament final. And yeah, man, hopefully it's coming home. I do believe it will. Bring on Italy, bring on Spain, whoever there is, Denmark, bring them on. We've got this.
The optimism is palpable, people.
Yeah.
But as I said, man, smash the like button if you haven't already. But without further ado, let's bring a special guest in. Mike for Good League, my brother from another mother. Bring in Mike.
How we doing? All right?
Yeah, not bad, man. Thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Not to worry. Always a privilege, always a pleasure, mate. So
no, much appreciated. Much love, Mike. People, follow my esteemed guests on their Twitter handles on the screen. Like I always say, don't think about it, just do it, people. But yeah, let's get straight into it. Michael, I wanted to ask you really, in terms of England, have you been surprised by what you've seen in terms of maybe the football they've played and the systems, or is it kind of what you expected in England to make this stage of the tournament?
I had England to get out of the group, but then I had England after going out of the group to get knocked out pretty much straight away. So I'm pleasantly surprised. Some of the football's been very good. I didn't expect us to keep, as many clean sheets as we have as well. This is a record now for England at a tournament as well. And I think, one for stats as well. I think the last time that England kept 4 clean sheets in their opening 4 games was none other than, was it 1966 when something quite big happened?
Well said. You know what, Mike? You kind of touched it, really. I think that's the one thing, if I'm being brutally honest, and I probably speak for a lot of England fans or people who follow England, is, 7 clean sheets in a row. That's never happened before. As Souls alluded to yesterday, England hadn't won an opening group match in the European Championship. That's a terrible stat. I knew it was bad, but I didn't realize it was that bad. But there's as much as people want to talk about Southgate, for me, he's done more than good. And I can't say that about a lot of the other previous England managers, if I'm being honest with you. And yeah, the defensive aspect has surprised me immensely, because I don't know whether, Mike, I'll come back to you again. I don't know if it's because it comes back to the same thing with England over many years. It's the expectation that maybe it's unrealistic. We still find fault in, 4-0 win, but I think it's from a point of view where me and Souls and RJ was talking about in the watch along, like we want them, it's for the greater good of the team. We want them to do well.
Yeah.
We're not doing it deliberately to get likes and to people to start going crazy over tweets and all that sort of thing. So Mike, coming to you, what have you made of sort of Southgate more in this tournament as opposed to not just his time as England manager?
I think he's done really well this tournament. I think he's followed it on nicely from reaching the semi-finals. Of course, when we were narrowly edged out against Croatia, and we've kind of come a long way since then. in terms of the players that we're bringing through as well. You know, the likes of Jack Grealish coming through, Bukayo Saka, of course, little star boy as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there's a lot of real talent coming through. And you know, you can add that to some of the more experienced heads, the likes of Harry Kane, Harry Maguire, that have been there and, you know, sort of seen a number of tournaments now as well. No,
well said. So, Roy, I'm going to get you to drop in a question if you want to, Mike. But before that, I'm going to sort of pose to you. Mike, I want to ask you again. So I'm not a major stats person as such. They do paint a reflection, but they're not everything. But looking at sort of the passing accuracy and the possession and attempts at goal for the tournament for Denmark and England, and Denmark at 82% passing accuracy, possession-wise 54%, attempts at goal 90 to England's 37.
Wow, massive difference.
And England passing accuracy 87%. But I think that's more so to do with how can I put it nicely? The needless passing in the defensive areas of the pitch, should I say? And then England with 8 goals, Denmark have got 11. I think they're third or fourth best scorers in the tournament. So what do you make of sort of those stats? And is that a reflection of what you've seen of England and Denmark?
I really do rate Denmark as well. I think they've got some real, you know, top quality players. Of course, you look at Højbjerg, who we all know from the Premier League at Tottenham. They got the striker, is it Dolberg as well, who scored a couple of goals for them. He's been really, really good and a bright spark. So, you know, I am wary of Denmark. And of course, they've got a lot to play for on the back of, you know, what happened on match day 1 with Christian Eriksen as well. So that, you know, you see the togetherness that they've shown since that day. And of course, you know, they had to come out and play that game, remember, as well, even though a lot of them didn't really want to. But they sort of still made it, you know, or had to play that game at some point. So I think they were just quite, you know, because the game had already started and they were pretty much sort of 50 to 60% of the game being done. They thought they might as well just finish it off there and then. But you know, of course, Kasper Schmeichel, great goalkeeper. Simon Kerr, really, really good centre back as well. So yeah, I'm a bit wary of the Danes, but I'm, you know, cautiously optimistic as well that England can go on and get the job done. Yeah.
So I'm going to bring you in to put it to you, really, like because I'm not a massive stats person, but yeah, total attempts at goal. That's quite a big difference, man. 37 to 90. We knew England was low anyway, but that needs to obviously kind of step up a bit on Wednesday.
I think Southgate's adapted that, and I think as the tournament's gone on, we're starting to see a little bit more creative output from England. It was just the fact, and I said it in the first of the few watch-alongs and reviews, that Foden and Mount simply do not work together. They need to be in separate teams, or it's got to be one or the other. The problem is, it's just they're two central players. And they just kind of, I know Foden's played on the wing, but the way that sort of City play, they don't really clash with each other. Whereas within England, we were seeing it. There was no natural width being in that sort of team. And then when he brought in Saka and then obviously Grealish and then kind of rotated the two, we started to see a little bit more advanced play. And especially when Saka or Grealish got on the ball, we started to see a little bit more someone taking the ball and making something happen. Sterling stopped dwelling on the ball too much, and he's now actually thinking a lot quicker, and that's something which has come through the tournament. And Kane started. Look, ultimately, it's down to Kane and the striker. It doesn't have to be Kane, but you know, whoever the striker is, to actually be in a position to receive the ball. The problem is Kane's played that deep rope. Now, my people that understand football understand why I've criticised it so much, because he doesn't need to do it. It's not like Spurs where they don't have any creative outlets, so no one's making chances happen. The problem is the ball's going out wide off of the back of a Kane pass, but Kane needs to be there to receive the header. And that's the issue. Unless we're playing like a 4-4-2 where we've got two strikers, let's say Calvert-Lewin and Kane, then it's probably not too much of a big deal. So I think it's more down to the way England play is why we've not created as many chances as maybe Denmark, where they've got two strikers. So even if one wanted to drop back or had to drop back to make an extra man in midfield, they've got a target man to still send the ball to. Hence why they've probably got 90 to 30. I'm not surprised, because you're trying to create a chance for Sterling, you're very limited. You're not going to try and get him to header every single cross. You're trying to whip him down low and try and get him to run onto them. And that's a part of why why the chances created stat is down. Even though we have created, but the problem is we get to that position and then the problem is it's forced to go back because we can't, there's no point crossing when there's no one in the box. So that's a missed opportunity. And that's what I look at. And we've gotten into those opportunities, but we've had nowhere to pass to. And that's, if we did have that, we'd probably be on 90 chance created as well. So I look at, it's a hard one to say because it is a phenomenal stat to have. To be able to say that you're breaking teams that many times, it is good to say. And it gives you a lot of confidence going into any game to say, because the thing is, Denmark aren't one of the best teams in the tournament. So even like a Wales, for example, the difference in class isn't hugely different. And for them to go there and absolutely smoke them, it's a phenomenal thing for them. So it's good, but there's a reason why England haven't created as much.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Yeah, it's certainly when I was sort of looking at them stats, I was like, wow, that's quite a vast. But I get it. I get it. Mike, before I come to you, mate, sort of, the Denmark manager's done very, very well. He actually got the job in 2019 and was supposed to take over the manager at the time, but obviously the Euro 2020 got postponed. So here he is, Jesper Hjulmand. And sort of stats-wise, I'm looking at it sort of history-wise for England, Denmark. Denmark are ranked 10th in the FIFA rankings, if that means anything to people. The last two times these two teams met, was in the Nations League. I think it was last year, the year before. England lost 1-0 to Wembley. Christian Eriksen penalty and the 0-0 draw, which wasn't a great game to watch because I think I did a watch log for it is in Copenhagen, but it wasn't great. England 12 wins, 5 draws, and Denmark 4 wins in head-to-heads. Sort of, Mike, coming on, I'm going to get up an image of the two teams in their last game.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't be shocked. I think Southgate will match what Denmark does. Personally, I don't think it will be a 4-2-3-1 formation. Would you agree with that, or do you think what do you think Southgate might do?
I think that would work when you look at the formations as well. Of course, England have played the back three, or the back three with wing backs already in this tournament, and it's worked as well. It was a couple of games ago now, wasn't it? And if you look at the midfield, I think Phillips and Rice will keep their place. I think they've both been very, very good and solid, really. And then in terms of the wing backs, I think it'd probably be Kyle Walker coming into part of the back three, and then you'll probably see Kieran Trippier going up right wing back, and then leave Luke Shaw on the left. And you can't take Luke Shaw out because he's been one of the standout left backs or players of the tournament in general. No,
well said. Like I said, I'm sort of looking at Denmark's side on paper, so I was coming to you, bruv. You know what? I said it to you yesterday. Sort of seeing the Scandinavian teams play over the years. It's quite a similar style to English football. Defensively, they're very good. I'm sure they've given up less shots. They probably must have been the top 2 or 3 teams in the tournament with that. And you can see why with Christensen, Simon Kjær, and Vestergaard at the back with Schmeichel in goal. We've seen Christensen sort of step into midfield, not to stay as a defender on the right of the three. So, and the left back for them, I can't pronounce his name properly, but he's been phenomenal in this tournament. They've got some players that can hurt England. Where do you think the key battle is going to be? Because before you answer that, I think the 2 boys in midfield for Denmark have been exceptional in Højbjerg and Delaney. And I think Rice and Phillips are going to come up with probably their toughest task in the tournament, even more than Germany. What do you think?
I think it's going to be Malia, or however you say it, and whoever ends up on the right-hand side for us, because he has been the heartbeat of that team in terms of bringing that ball forward. He is that sort of, you can talk about quality difference, whatever, but he is that sort of Robertson, Tierney like style of player who is pivotal to the way they attack. And if we can kind of keep him quiet, the chances created should be limited. And I think that's going to be one of the key battles. I think you're right in the midfield. Thomas Delaney has had a very good tournament, and obviously we know what Højbjerg can bring. He's one of those annoying players, should I say, to play. Where,
I was going to say something stronger, but guys, it's fine. It's right.
It's like he's an annoying one because
he's a pest.
He's that little. He gets away with dirty tackles, but like it's good. It's good if you have him, but he's annoying when you're playing him.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah,
and it's. And I think that's going to be a good battle. The thing is, Denmark have been a surprise factor, I think, in the Euros, where no one truly thought they'd do this well, especially not without, let's admit, like their key player in Eriksen.
Yeah.
Denmark don't have the sort of depth and strength of a England or a Germany or a France or a Portugal, where, if they missed out on like Eriksen, for example, they're bringing in Grealish type player. It's not like that.
Very, very small nation, a pool of players.
So it is going to be a different. I think they're the two battles. I think defensively we should be good. I think we should be able to contain their attack as long as we can keep those two components quiet. And especially that Mela, or however you say his name, he's the key to keep quiet though. He's that creative outlet. So if we want to limit the chances to begin with, let's not give them as many opportunities. You keep him quiet first. And I think for me, Walker needs to come out because he's a liability for me. And I think
or if you do play Walker, you play
as a right of a
you do not play in a
you know what I think? I think what he's going to do, he is going to match them, but in a weird way. I think if Saka's fit, and I think he's hoping that Saka's fit, because what he's going to do is he's going to play the 4-2-3-1 and then make Saka shift into a 5 to defend. But then he's going to tell him to bomb forward as soon as we get the ball. And then Walker's going to fill in if he needs to. And I think that's the way he wants to play if Saka's free. And then I think Foden's going to come in because Foden can offer you the width while Saka's defending. And then Foden can stay as that winger because he has done it more than Mount has. And for me, Mount's more of a number 8 than a creative outlet that you want on the wing. Yeah. So that's how I would play. I don't think he'll bring Grealish into this game unless Saka's injured. Reason why I say that is because he needs defensive bodies. And unfortunately, that's the one area where Grealish tries, but he does it to a level. Like once the ball goes past into our defensive half, he'll stop. And that's the problem. He'll press whilst it's in the attacking areas. But as soon as it goes past him, he's like, all right, yeah, whatever, I'll let them deal with it. And that it's not a flaw in his game, but it's just one of those things where he doesn't work as hard as a Southgate wants you to. So in a game like this, he's going to need that more, I think, than a creative player in his head anyway. And I think that's my thought process at the minute.
No, good stuff, man. Great stuff. So think of a question. People in the chat, actually, drop some questions if you can. We'll try and get them in if we can.
I just saw G just made a point there in regards to Kieran Trippier and Kyle Walker. I think Kyle Walker will move into the back three and kind of play alongside Maguire and Stones, and then Kieran Trippier will come in at right back in a sort of match-up sort of system. That's the way that I see it. I don't know about you two.
Yeah, I think it's an obvious call. If you look at the way, if Southgate's not stupid, he would have, you've played the 2 games against Denmark in the Nations League within the last year or 18 months. You've definitely seen them play this tournament, and they've been very, very good. So I expect Trippier to come in. I expect Walker to play in the back 3. I said, Mike, with the Ukraine game, I said to Souls that I expected 2 minimum changes, and it happened. This one, I think there'll be a couple of changes again. I think it'll be Grealish or Foden. And with the Saka Grealish thing, I was quite surprised to see them both play when they played in the game against the Czech Republic game. Yeah. But I don't think you'll see that combo necessarily. Definitely not as a start. Definitely not starting a game, but maybe you might bring one on. But I can't see a situation where you'll have both Saka and Grealish. So Foden may come in on Wednesday. He may come in on Wednesday. I expect 2 minimum changes personally. Trippier is definitely gonna be one of them.
Yeah.
So I don't know who the other one's going to be, but
I think that's harsh on Mason Mount. I thought Mason Mount had a very good game against the Ukraine. He got an assist for Henderson's goal, the fourth goal as well. And I think that the fact he'd been out of the side for so long, dealing with the COVID issues like he was, I don't know whether Gareth Southgate will take Mason Mount out now that he's had 90 minutes under his belt, or I don't know if he actually lasted the full 90 in fact, but as long as he had under his belt against the Ukraine and actually put in a solid performance, I think he might stick with Mason Mount, and instead he's got Foden and Grealish on the bench to come on if need be.
I'd agree, but if it's a matchup of formations, Mount doesn't fit that system whatsoever, and I think it's unfortunate because I agree. I do think he's a good player and he's played well, but in that 4-2-3-1 system is better for him than it is in a 3 or 5-3-2 or a 5-2-3 formation where he's having to be a winger. It doesn't suit him. So he's one of those players who needs to run into the box late, like a Lampard-esque player, and he'd just be a man making a number rather than a player who's going to make an impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. But you know what it is? I think we said with Southgate, Kane, Sterling, and I would actually put probably Mason Mount in that as well, where they will start.
Yeah.
Irrespective of who they're playing against, they will start. Would I start Mount against Denmark? If I want the players that I want to start, then no, not necessarily. No, I wouldn't. But I do agree with Souls. I do think I have a sneaky Foden may start. I do have it's a gut feeling. It's not. I don't have any intel. I don't have that.
No,
I don't have
fair enough.
that kind of weight. But I have a sneaky that he will start Foden. But yeah, so we'll come back to you, Mike. I just want to sort of ask you about sort of what players for you. Are there any players for you in this England side in this tournament that have surprised you in terms of how well they performed, or how do you see it? Who's performed well for you? Who stood out?
I'm trying to think of players that have surprised me. I think Luke Shaw surprised me at left back. I think the fact he's been out of the fold for so long, he's come back in, and it's like he hasn't been away really. Luke Shaw, he's got a couple of assists last game. I think he was involved in the goal or two the game before against the Germans as well, I believe. Yeah. And I think he's come in and looked very good. I think you have to look at Harry Kane. Now that he's finding form, I think the last couple of games he's more of his old sort of self again, which can only be good for England. Same as Raheem Sterling as well. Up there, I think he's almost golden boot for the tournament. I think Raheem near enough, isn't he?
He's got three, isn't he? He's got three, isn't he?
Same as Kane now. Then So the two of them are up there. I'm trying to think about other players. I think Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice actually in midfield. The two of them,
brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And it's strange because sort of coming to you. I don't know if you want to drop a question in. Or you drop it in after I've sort of asked you this, but I remember sort of watching England a lot of friendlies. If I go by Twitter, well, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't watch international football again in my life. And I don't know what it is. This thing like I sort of hammer play. Don't want him playing, and Rice had his. I will say Roy Keane was quite critical of Declan Rice quite a while ago, but I think Rice and Phillips have been exceptional to a point that people think, you know what, they're not going to do it, but we owe these guys an apology because we knew they might have been good players, but they've been put on an international stage in a tournament football, in a home tournament, more or less, and they've been exceptional. And
it says what I will say, just 1 second, just to come on to that as well, and then you can throw to Souls there. But it says everything about Gareth Southgate and how much he rates them, knowing that they're on yellow cards, and he's like, right, we're 3-0 up, whatever it may be, we'll take you out now so that you don't get booked, so you don't miss the next game.
Yeah. No, also, yeah.
No, I think if you're going to go with Twitter football, no one in the world would ever fucking start. Let's be real. Like the thing is, right? I think there's some people who talk common sense, and then there's some people who are just there for the likes, just to be controversial. And I think people overreact so goddamn much, man. One game, and you think they shouldn't be starting together and the shit together and all of this, and I'm like, what are you on? Are you like smoking crack when you're watching them?
So come back. You make a good point because you kind of touch on what I was saying, that when they played Scotland, you know, I thought the way that people was talking, I thought Phillips and Rice committed a crime.
Yeah,
like, you know, it's possible for footballers to not have an influential game, like, and you're gonna cast these guys aside already? Come on, man.
Yeah, it's funny because there was bare people saying it to me. Oh, I told you, just overhyped him. Or Phillips isn't that good. I was like, oh my god. And then you know what though? When I seen United fan Twitter yesterday saying Camavinga is apparently a DM, I was like, you man don't watch football. I've lost all respect for United fans because I'm like, how on earth do you miss? Like, the thing is, I can understand, you know, like saying, oh, he's something he could. He's never played as a DM in his fucking life. Yeah. How are you confusing? Like, and this is the thing with Twitter, right? They all of a sudden seem to be experts on players they've never seen.
It's madness. Yeah, it's madness.
Where did you get these from? Like, and then I've said it. Look, Rice and Phillips, right? And I said this on the first game, and it's carried through. They're so similar but so different. It's so weird because Rice offers Rice can do what Phillips is doing, but he isn't doing it because Phillips is a little bit better at that more ball progression, going into the box and making that chance. So Rice is dropping back and just breaking the play up, and they're playing for each other. So
Dad's in the chat. Big up, Dad. Dad's my guy, man. United fan.
Phil
not all of, but it was just like every United fan was like, "Oh yes, we finally got the DM we're looking for." And I'm like, who, Camavinga? Are you smoking crack? What DM did you just sign? He's a box to box. Call him for what he is. Stop making players. Yes, something they're not. So what we're gonna do next? Start playing Kane at centre back because we've got deep a few times. Like,
stick DCL there for his height.
Oh my god!
Well, but it's just like that's where
it is mad. It is.
I can't take everyone's opinion seriously. There are some people, and I'll take it for like, you know what? I'll respect it because more than not, they're right about what they're saying. So
yeah, Mike. Sort of two different questions, but if the first part's gone up, I had the second part. Saka's declared fit, obviously, for the game on Wednesday. Do you think there's a possibility he will start?
I'd love to see him start. I think he will be on the bench because I think Jadon Sancho coming against the Ukraine, and I thought he actually had a decent game as well.
That's what I was going to ask you, Mike. Sorry, you touched on it. Sorry.
Yeah, so in regards to that, I think Jadon Sancho will probably keep his place and Bukayo will come on probably off the bench, maybe something like that. Because actually, even in the Germany game, he had a good first half, but then before he got substituted in the second half, he was sort of fading off a little bit. Yeah, so I think that's what Southgate will probably, stick with Sancho for me, and then maybe look at bringing Bukayo on a little bit later on, maybe to get a time in defence.
Yeah, 100%. So before I come to you, people, if you don't know what to do by now, this is what you should do. And there you have it, people. Audio listeners, it's not a massage parlor. It was an intro for the like, share, subscribe. So the music's very serene. But yeah,
I live in front of the hairdressers, not a massage parlor. Get it right.
Mike, it's interesting you said about Sancho. So sort of bringing you in, mate. Because I know you had your own view of sort of how Sancho did in the game against Ukraine. Do you think he could start Wednesday?
He was all right. That's genuinely the way I've seen it. Like, he was good, but he wasn't like, oh my god, yes, he has to start.
It's when he done that run. I thought, yeah.
Oh, that bit of skill at the end of the first half. Yeah.
The thing is, the way, and I said, I know Albert's gonna know what I'm about to say. For me, it's a semi-final. You can't play a player who might be ready to play. I can't do it. For me, unlucky lad. You didn't play. It's unfortunate. You'll get your winner's medal because you played a game. Just hold the wait and watch the game like a spectator. Be a fan because you're not ready. You're not fit. You're rusty. And that's the thing. Grealish is more ready than him. Foden's played more games than him. And this is the problem. We're in a semi-final. I've got no time for sentiment. I've not got time to hope that a player's ready. That's the group stages. That's the friendlies for me.
Yeah.
Now it's time to stick to business, play the 11s that you've been playing. Because we've not conceded. We've played very well. I can't really see a game where we haven't looked in control majority of the game or large parts of the game. So as much as I rate Sancho, unfortunately, Southgate kind of screwed that selection for me. I think if Grealish is fit, if anything, he needs to be first on the team sheet before Sancho is, and if Saka's fit, he's got to be second to. And it's not because of quality; it's just really because they've both come in and made the biggest impacts to the team. Sancho's come in. I'm not saying he hasn't made an impact, but nothing came down his side. None of the chances we created really came down his side. Everything came through Sterling and Sancho. Sterling and Shaw. Yeah. So it's like, as good as he's been, like, I'm not saying he didn't do anything. It was just, he was good. Like, he was there. Like, he'd done his job. Like, but it was nothing like, oh yeah, now I see why he needs to start.
Yeah, you know what, it's sort of changing a bit of a direction, but massive shout out to Luke Shaw, actually. I mentioned it on the show yesterday with big up Gary, big up DWTT in the chat for coming on. Great views yesterday. Like I said, Luke Shaw, youngster, broke into the England squad for the 2014 World Cup. Played the last group game, was man of the match. Louis van Gaal becomes Manchester United manager not long afterwards, and then calls him out straight away. Not fit enough. I'm like, wow. Serious injuries. We know the stuff with Jose Mourinho. There's no love lost there. But Luke Shaw's been exceptional, man. And I think there's a stat. Sorry, Mike. There was a stat that apparently he's got the same amount as assists at the same time as since Beckham in 2000. I said, wow. I said that's not a bad stat to have. Sorry, Mike, come in, mate. Sorry, bro.
No, I was just gonna say, is he the best left back for you since Ashley Cole?
Oh,
well, there's not really been any good ones really since
England. You know what? You know what, Mike? It's a good question. I would say if you ask that question in about 18 months' time, if he stays injury-free, Luke Shaw, because people will think to forget he's only 25.
Yeah.
He seems like he's around forever, but he's only 25. So Ashley Cole was just different league, man. And people have said to me, sort of going off tangent a little bit. People have asked me before, who's the best individual performance I've ever seen playing an England shirt? There's two. So I told you might remember, you might not remember. One of the players was quite a maligned player actually, who Sven-Göran Eriksson showed a lot of faith in, and that was Owen Hargreaves. England played Portugal in the quarterfinal in 2006. He put in the performance for a midfield player, particularly extra time, that a lot of England fans owed that guy an apology, because he took some people like Ashley Cole getting stick for England. Mm-hmm. Owen Hargreaves took some terrible stick for England. But the best individual performance I've seen in an England shirt, and I've said it on my channel in previous streams, Ashley Cole's performance at left back in that quarterfinal 2004 was the best ever display I've seen by an England footballer in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. He was exceptional against a young Cristiano Ronaldo. And I'm sure if you ask Cristiano, who's the toughest opponent you faced, I'm sure it'd be him. He never really got the better of Ashley Cole. Never really got the better of him. But yeah, Ashley Cole, that performance for me was the best performance I've seen. And I think even Gary Neville said it at the time, that he said it's the best fullback display he's ever seen in an England shirt. So yeah, Ashley Cole, whatever you want to call him. But for me, that individual performance, absolutely exceptional. Best I've ever seen. Guys, get your question in, because we haven't got long left, because I want to sort of wrap up and get myself ready for my first appearance on Cannon Chat. Big up to the guys there. But sort of coming into Wednesday, score predictions. I'm going to come to Souls first.
Yeah, I kind of made the prediction that we're going to keep a clean sheet every single game this tournament, so I'm going to stick to it. I genuinely see us winning 2-0.
I said that to one of my guys at work today. I said I got a feeling 2-0 England. So, Mike, it's over to you, mate.
I've got a feeling that this will be the game we're conceding. I do think we'll win. So I'm going to go. I'll go 2-1. I don't know whether it be in the 90 or whether it be in extra time, but I'm going to go 2-1.
Okay. Oh, so before we go, just a random question. I sort of watching the tournament as a whole so far.
Yeah.
Sort of team-wise or individual players-wise, who's impressed you? Even if it's an individual performance, doesn't have to be over the course of the tournament. Has anyone sort of stood out for you, Mike?
That's a great question. Who's surprised me in terms of players or the teams? I think. Oh, let's have a think now.
I'll come back to. So I'll come back to you, but I can tell you mine. So, Souls, I can come to you if you want. You need time to think about it.
I'm trying to think. It's like on the flip side, I know the teams that haven't impressed me or have surprised me in the other sense. But yeah.
I would say, you know what? I said to Souls, there's been some. I love tournament football. I've said it quite publicly. I'm not one of them people that I know people. When I think of club over country talk, right?
Yeah,
I think of back in the days when Ferguson used to be furious about certain players playing for two. That's what I look at. I don't think it should be a case of either or. Why can't it be both?
What I will say is one team that has surprised me, the fact that they even got any points at all in that group is Hungary.
Yeah,
true.
Good shout. It's a good shout, Mike, because they said, I think apparently, if you look at all three of their games they played in, they was only behind for 6 minutes.
Yeah, that was Portugal, and I know they got beat 3-0, but yeah.
Crazy. And they could have got through almost, but so before I come to you, because you're going to finish off, but I would say, like I said to Souls, I said there's been that Belgium-Italy game was exceptional. It was a brilliant game to watch. And a big shout out to the young boy that played in the wing. I said this to Souls, Doku.
Yeah, Doku.
Oh, wow, yeah.
I mean, seriously, man. It wasn't just a thing of just pace. He consistently got the ball and just went on one. And he's come up against some two good fullbacks, Italy, Di Lorenzi and Spinazzola. He was excellent, man. Like this. That's why I love tournament football. But there's one down. I said this to Souls in a few live streams, right? Mike, you might have seen some of our stuff with over the Euro 2020 content series where you get players have a good game in the tournament, and then you get the Twitter fan base. Arsenal's got to go and get him. Arsenal has to find Doku.
Locatelli, like yeah.
Oh my god. I just think so. Like, me and Souls in our group chat, we just laugh when people just say, "Yeah, that's another one Arsenal's going to sign. Yeah, that's another one. That's another player they're going to sign." But people in the chat, thank you once again for your amazing support and great interaction in the chat. And we're going to wrap up, but I want to firstly thank my amazing co-host as usual, Gunnar. Big up to you, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've figured out my name, who I was going to say, who's not surprised me, but I'm glad he's getting some forms of recognition that I wanted him to get, and that's Pedri from Spain. Obviously, people know I watch La Liga, and he was one of those players. I was a bit apprehensive because I was like, he's had a good season, but he's not featured as much as maybe enough to say get a call up for an international team. But the fact that he was given so much faith and he has repaid it, it's absolutely brilliant to see. And I think another name that I'm going to say, who didn't play the Euros, but I want people to watch out for, is Trincao, who's been given a loan move to Wolves. He's another up-and-coming winger who is absolutely phenomenal for his age. So I think hopefully he can do it in the Premier League. And I think they're just the names that come to head first.
Good shout. And also, you know what, the young guy who came on for a cameo appearance for Germany.
Newhouse.
No, what's his name again? I think you just said it. What's his name again?
Newhouse.
The winger.
Oh, the winger.
Masala, is it?
Yeah,
look out for him, boy. That boy,
English to German,
that boy's got some pedigree, man. And you know what? You know who should look out for in the future as well? Our own Jude Bellingham.
100.
I think Jude's going to be really good. Yeah, I think if you look at that German side, they had a few. Gossens was good for them as well. Yeah,
yeah, tasty, mate, tasty. But people in the chat, big up once again for coming to the live stream as usual. Smash that like button if you haven't already. I trust that you've done it already, but if you haven't, you've still got time to do it anyway. But yeah, like I said, big ups to Souls for coming on again. We still got more streams. We've obviously got the watch along for England, Denmark. And there will obviously be a review, whatever happens.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever happens. But Mike, I want to thank you for coming on, right? You're much welcome again for coming on. Appreciate
it. Enjoyed it. It's been good to catch up with you two, and hopefully England can go on and hopefully might even be able to keep that clean sheet, Souls, that you're on about as well.
Could you imagine if England got? Oh my God! It's
got through to the final,
to say it.
Won it without conceding a goal. Like this is, It's crazy enough thinking that it might actually be coming home, but if we could do it without conceding a goal, wow.
Mike,
has that ever been done? I'm curious. I don't think it has.
Well, probably not, mate. Probably not.
Go on, Southgate. Go break another record. Go on.
You know what, Mike? You know what? It's a good shout because listen, football, anything can happen. Denmark 1992, Greece 2004. Anything is possible. People, the show is done. Albert JTV, your host, of course. My Twitter handle and Instagram are at the top of the overlay. If you haven't already followed, what are you waiting for? But that is the preview over and done. England v Denmark. Not too long to go. Is football coming home?
Of course it is. Of course it is. I'll speak for him. Of course it is.
Yes. Come on, England.